let's move on to artificial sweeteners. Anybody, I won't ask. A lot of people use artificial sweeteners. Splenda, Sweet and Low, and Equal are the most commonly used. Most common used. Anybody know how artificial sweeteners derived? Okay.
In the laboratory somewhere.
Exactly. Exactly. It was an accident. This gentleman was using wood alcohol and he spilled some and he tasted it. It was sweet. And so they created artificial sweeteners. Now what they used it for originally was as an ant poison. Aspartame was used originally as an ant poison. And now we use it to sweeten our food. Good or bad for us?
Wow.
Bad. What it does is it causes excitotoxicity. Tough word for me to say. That just means that the neurons or your brain cells are firing excessively. They're going too fast. Components are known to cause cancer. In fact, formaldehyde, which is what we used to use to embalm bodies, is in that. There are over 900 studies showing the hazardous effects of aspartame. It causes things like epileptic seizures, migraines, depression, hair loss, dementia, blindness, brain tumors, and autoimmune diseases. Good for us or bad? Very bad. Pasteurized dairy. I won't gasp. But pasteurized dairy is dead. Literally, there's zero value out of pasteurized dairy. Is anybody familiar with the pasteurizing process? No. It is a flash heating. So they've got these big, huge bulk tanks. What they do is they flash heat it, meaning they raise the temperature significantly, 300-400 degrees, sustain it there for 30 minutes, and then bring it back down to room temperature. Very effective in killing bacteria. Bad bacteria and good bacteria alike. It also kills the enzymes that we require in order to digest that. If anybody knows anything about chemistry, high heat also denatures a protein. So the proteins that we would get from the milk are now rendered useless. What happens with the unnatural forms of protein is your body tries to digest those, but it can't because A, doesn't have the enzymes and they're unrecognizable proteins. So it deposits those proteins into avascular or low vascular, meaning very little blood supply areas. Anybody know what those areas are? Cartilage. So it's your joints, knee joints, hip joints, foot, elbow, wrist, shoulder, and spine. And guess what we call that after years of accumulation? Osteoarthritis. Arthritis. So, anybody drink milk regularly? Yeah. We all do. Well, we do, but we drink a different kind of milk. If you do drink raw milk, there are many benefits to it, but it has to be raw. And that scares a lot of people, but we can talk about that on a different day. The calcium, which is the primary reason parents buy milk for their kids, is no longer valuable. In fact, you can't even, it's not soluble. Milk does the body very bad. Very bad.
So cereal with milk.
Oh, miracles of the human body. What we're looking at here is an egg, female egg, and up here we can see, I just use my fingers, these are sperm cells that are starting to penetrate that egg. Here's another picture of it. Up here are the sperm cells. That's the egg starting to penetrate. This next one is really cool. This is an electron microscope view of the sperm, again, penetrating an egg. What does this have to do with nutrition? We're getting there. This is showing a developing embryo. Notice this is the brain developing, and here is the nodal cord. The nodal cord is the precursor to your spinal cord. And guess what controls everything in your body? Your brain. Here's a different picture, different view. You can see the spinal cord developing right there. The brain is the first, let's see if I can go back. Yeah, the brain is the first organ to develop or that's visible within a human embryo. Happens within 2.5 weeks. Let's get it back. So those pictures were the miracle of the child developing. Now in the course of 9 months, you've got a fully functioning baby minus the lungs. The lungs don't work until it takes its first breath. But in 9 months, the average baby is consisting of not 6 billion cells. 6 billion cells, if you think about it, that is pretty amazing how God has created us to develop into 9 months, or in 9 months, into a full human. More wonders. Your heart beats 100,000 times a day. That's amazing to me. Your veins and arteries would stretch over 12,000 miles. And in only 60 seconds, your heart has pumped blood through that entire 12,000 mile stretch. Your heart pumps 2.5 gallons of blood per minute.
Wow.
If you took your red blood cells and you put them in a line side by side, they would go around the world at the equator 4 different times. 1 drop of blood consists of 5 million red blood cells, 7,000 white blood cells, and thousands of platelets. And if you take 60,000 of those cells, you can put that on a head of a pin. It's amazing. We are very complex individuals. You wear out 10 million red blood cells every second, but your life force or your innate intelligence, what God created in us, replaces those constantly. There are more than 600 muscles in your body. Amazing. In 70 years, your stomach produces 60,000 quarts of digestive juices, and you will digest 40 tons of food.
Wow.
Perhaps more. Each kidney contains 1 million units that filter that blood. Your eyes make 10 million different color distinctions. I didn't know there were 30 colors, let alone 10 million. The retina in your eye is like a film, and it has 137 million nerve endings. If you took your lungs and took the 500 million tiny little air sacs, and you spread that out, that would cover 40 to 50 square miles, depending on male or female. If you could see your body for what it really truly is, you'd never see it the same way twice. Literally, 98% of your atoms in your body were not there 1 year ago. You have a new skeletal system every 3 months. Are we astounded at our bodies yet? Deepak Chopra, famous MD, says that the skin is new every month. You get new stomach lining every 4 days, and the actual cells that contact the food on the inside are replaced every 5 minutes. Crazy. You have a new liver every 6 weeks. Yet, in spite of all of those incredible, miraculous things that we just listed, we can still get sick. The one cause of sickness and disease is called a weak immune system. So you are what you eat, at least partially, right? And let me tell you a quick story. We know that, let's use strep throat. Anybody know what causes strep throat? Who thinks they know what causes strep throat? If you're bold.
Streptococcus bacteria.
Streptococcus bacteria. Does anybody have strep right now?
Yes,
Who?
I do.
You do, you do, I do, you do. Everybody here has strep throat right now. Not strep throat, but streptococcus bacilli in their throat. It lives in us. It is an opportunistic bacteria, meaning that when your immune system gets weak enough, it thrives and it takes over. And that's when you develop strep throat. How do you get a cold? From a person coughing on you and they spread it? It's lower immune system. How do you get cancer? Right. Some of us will develop cancer, 2 out of 3 people, statistically speaking. The 1 out of 3 of us that won't is because our immune system is killing those cancer cells every day. Then every one of us have between 5,000 and 15,000 new cancer cells every day. Those that have the weak immune system allow that to accumulate and causes a tumor.